dying in Uganda. Our people are dying in Kenya. Our people are dying in Ethiopia. And we are still not thinking of badness of it. So, in which day we can think about our people.
Sounds of the Week on iRadio, your eye on South Sudan. Live from Juba, on air and online.
This is iRadio News.
Hello, good afternoon. This is iRadio News. First, here are the headlines. President Salva Kiir appointed lawmaker Justin Joseph Maruna of the SPLM-IO as the new deputy governor of Western Equatoria State in a Republican decree issued yesterday. The Central Bank of the United Arab Emirates and the Bank of South Sudan have signed a memorandum of understanding to enhance cooperation in modern banking infrastructure and financial innovation. And the SSPDF has established a new training center for the South Sudan People's Defense Forces peacekeeping troops northwest of Juba. These stories and more coming to you in this news bulletin with me, Baria Johnson, and now the news in detail. President Salva Kiir appointed lawmaker Justin Joseph Maruna of the SPLM-IO as the new deputy governor of Western Equatoria State in a Republican decree issued yesterday. He replaced current deputy governor Daniel Badagbu of the SPLM, who was relieved of his duties. Justin currently serves as the chairperson of the Committee on Public Accounts in the Transitional National Legislative Assembly. His appointment comes amid a split within the SPLM-IO, with their leader, first Vice President Dr. Riek Machar, still in detention. Observers say the move is part of ongoing efforts by the government to stabilize leadership in Western Equatoria, which has been governed by SPLM since the removal of the former governor Alfred Futuyu Karaba. Western Equatoria, marred with intermittent violence, has experienced political transitions over the past years. The Central Bank of the United Arab Emirates and the Bank of South Sudan have signed a memorandum of understanding to enhance cooperation in modern banking infrastructure and financial innovation. The agreement, signed by Dr. Addis Ababa Utho, the governor of the Bank of South Sudan, and Saif Humaid Al-Dahairi, assistant governor for banking operations and support services at the Central Bank of the UAE, aims to support the development of secure, efficient and internationally compliant payment systems in South Sudan. The signing was witnessed by South Sudan's Vice President for Economic Cluster, Dr. Benjamin Bolmel, and Sheikh Aboud bin Nahyan Al-Nahyan, UAE Minister of State in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. According to a joint statement from both institutions, the agreement will pave the way for advanced system to process payment card transaction, enhance financial inclusion, and support the growth of a modern financial sector in South Sudan. The MOU also includes provisions for knowledge sharing and capacity building initiatives aimed at equipping South Sudanese banking professionals with the technical skills needed to manage and regulate a competitive and secure financial environment. Vice President Dr. Benjamin Bolmel called the agreement a major step forward and urged both banks to move swiftly in implementation. The sooner we act, the sooner South Sudan becomes a capable hub for secure, modern financial services that benefit our citizens and economy, he said during the signing ceremony. Officials say the agreement was made possible under the leadership of President Salva Kiir, whose visit to the UAE in June helped lay the diplomatic and technical groundwork for the partnership. Once fully implemented, the cooperation is expected to improve transaction speed, strengthen consumer confidence, and open more opportunities for businesses to participate in the formal economy. The SSPDF has established a new training center for the South Sudan People's Defense Forces peacekeeping troops northwest of Juba. The launch yesterday was attended by a high-level military delegation led by General Dao Aturjong, the Chief of Defense Forces, and a state delegation led by Central Equatoria State Governor Emmanuel Rabi Mojung. The event began with a traditional cleansing ritual performed by the community that provided the land. In a speech, Governor Majung encouraged the trainees to uphold the highest military standards and to focus on personal career development in preparation for life after their service. He officially declared the training of the SSPDF peacekeeping mission forces open. Major General Nakir Atem, a veteran and founding member of the historical Katiba Banad all-female battalion, praised the trainees for being pioneers of the SSPDF peacekeeping mission forces. She urged female soldiers to maintain their value and integrity in a male-dominated environment. And Ms. Representative expressed the mission's honor in being a training partner. Major General Dr. Ajak Bullen welcomed trainees with medical backgrounds, hailing their nationalistic spirit for joining the service. Lieutenant General Ashap Fashal reminded the trainees that their primary mandate is to protect the people and territorial integrity of South Sudan. Lieutenant General Mario Cole instructed the trainees to temporarily set aside their specialized knowledge to fully embrace military training. General Dao Aturjung emphasized the need for this second batch of the trainees to show high levels of commitment, resilience, and perseverance. You are still listening to iRadio Afternoon News. The Minister of Federal Affairs says there is a need for greater public awareness to address myths and misconceptions surrounding the federal system of governance in the country. Lasuba Lodoru Wongo said despite the effort of the ministry to educate the public about federalism, there are some individuals who often misinform others for their personal gains. He said President Salva Kiir also instructed him to continue with the sensitization for the people of South Sudan, citing the importance of federal system of governance in the country. Lasuba said during the nationwide consultations, most South Sudanese support a federal system for the country. He spoke to iRadio in an exclusive interview on Tuesday.
The President was very clear that we need to implement the federal system. The only fear sometimes are individuals who have negative views and all that. And given the fact that, the definition of the word federal system in the Republic of South Sudan did not start now, but it started a long time ago. So there were also a misinterpretation of the word itself, where sometimes, they call me sometimes Kokora, Minister of Kokora. So you see, it has been there. So this kind of dissent views and all that, I've interacted with a number of them, and they're very positive in terms of understanding what a federal system is all about. The problem is just the misconception of the terminology, which His Excellency the President made very clear to me. He said, there's misconception. There are some people who do not understand and misinform the public. So that's why he actually recommended that it's important for me to educate the people and interact with the people. And that is the reason why the issue of sensitization and all that came out very strongly in our strategic plan. We have tried to do that, but of course, due to lack of funding and the challenges of resources, we were not able to go to all the states as we had planned earlier.
Federalism is a system of government where power is divided between a central authority and constituent political units like states or provinces. This division of power ensures that both the central government and the regional units have their own spheres of authority and can govern independently on certain matters. And finally, the Ministry of Trade and Industry says South Sudan must tackle several obstacles, including inadequate internet and power infrastructure, high internet costs, and limited access to financing for businesses to unlock the full potential of e-commerce. Atong Kol Manyangjuk made the remarks at the end of a 2-day consultation workshop in Juba on Tuesday. The workshop, which was in partnership with the United Nations Development Programme UNDP, aimed at crafting South Sudan's first comprehensive e-commerce strategy. The event brought together stakeholders from across the country to chart a policy framework that will promote economic growth, digital inclusion and regional integration. In her closing remarks, Trade and Industry Minister described the policy initiative as vital to inclusive and sustainable economic growth. The proposed e-commerce policy will focus on empowering micro, small and medium-sized enterprises by providing training in digital marketing, operationalization, e-commerce platforms, and connecting businesses to opportunities under the African Continental Free Trade Area. The strategy will also seek to align South Sudan's regulation with East African Community standards to boost regional trade. Minister Atong said achieving a robust digital economy requires strong collaboration between government, the private sector, and the development partners. She said priority areas should include expanding broadband access, ensuring reliable power, and improving transport and delivery systems. She highlighted ongoing initiatives such as the UNDP-backed and innovation hubs as examples of how partnerships are helping young entrepreneurs to thrive. You're listening to iRadio Afternoon News, and for the regional and international news, we are joined by my colleague Nyamot Pod.
Good afternoon. Let's have a look at the stories making headlines in the region and beyond. The women at the community kitchen in the besieged Sudanese city of El Fasher say their children are dying before their eyes. One of them told the BBC that they do not know what to do and they are innocent. International aid organizations have condemned the calculated use of starvation as a weapon of war. The medical charity Doctors Without Borders, MSF, on Thursday said Sudan is experiencing the worst cholera outbreak the country has seen in years, fueled by the ongoing civil war. Elsewhere, Israeli far-right Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich has said he will approve plans to build more than 3,000 homes in a controversial settlement project in the occupied West Bank, a move he said will prevent the creation of a Palestinian state. The so-called E1 project between Jerusalem and Male Edumim settlement has been frozen for decades amid fierce opposition internationally. Building they would effectively cut off the West Bank from occupied East Jerusalem and significantly obstruct its territorial contiguity. Finally, and French President Emmanuel Macron has acknowledged the violence committed by his country's forces in Cameroon during and after the Central African nation's struggle for independence. It followed a joint report by Cameroonian and French historians examining France's suppression of independence movement from 1945 to 1971. In a letter to Cameroon's president, Paul Biya, made public on Tuesday, Macron said the report made clear a war had taken place in Cameroon during which the colonial authorities and the French army exercised repressive violence of several kinds in certain regions of the country. That's all from the international scene, and now back to you, my colleague in the studio.
Thank you, Nyamod. And up next, the sports news with Lasuba Memo.
Thanks, Baria Johnson. In the world of sports, the General Assembly of the South Sudan Football Federation will hold elections tomorrow in Juba to choose its president, first and second vice presidents, and the executive office for the 2025-2029 term. Delegates from the country's 16 local federations, along with representatives from the Women's Football Committee, coaches and referees will take part in the vote. The election committee last week confirmed the list of candidates for the presidency, which includes outgoing President Agustino Madud and former Federation head Francis Amin Michael. Elsewhere, European champions Paris Saint-Germain produced a superb late recovery before winning a penalty shootout to cling to UEFA Super Cup and deny Thomas Frank a first trophy as Tottenham boss. Spurs led it 2-0 after 84 minutes and were then second, away from clinching an impressive victory before PSG substitute Gonzalo Ramos headed in a 94th minute equalizer. That took the tie straight to penalties, and PSG missed their opening effort as Vitinha fired wide, but Mickey van de Ven, who had scored Tottenham's first goal earlier on, had his spot kick saved by Lucas Chevalier. Matthew Stell shot wide for Frank's side before Nuno Mendes held his nerve to convert the winning penalty for PSG. In boxing, the heavyweight champion Moses Itraumas will fight with Dillian White on Saturday in Saudi Arabia. The All-British encounter sees the unbeaten Itauma take on seasoned contender and former world title challenger White. Liverpool's Nick Ball defends his WBA featherweight world title against Sam Goodman in the co-main event, while London heavyweight David Ademeyer faces Filip Hrgovic. That's all in the world of sports. Back to you, Baria Johnson.
Thank you, Memo. You're listening to iRadio News, and to end this bulletin, here's a recap of the main headlines. President Salva Kiir appointed lawmaker Justin Joseph Maruna of the SPLM-IO as the new deputy governor of Western Equatoria State in a Republican decree issued yesterday. The Central Bank of the United Arab Emirates and the Bank of South Sudan have signed a memorandum of understanding to embrace cooperation in modern banking infrastructure and financial innovation. And the SSPDF has established a new training center for South Sudan People's Defense Forces peacekeeping troops northwest of Juba. That's the end of iRadio News. If there is a story or an event you would like iRadio to cover or report about, please send us a text message on +211 925 287870. It's also our WhatsApp number. Follow us on X at iRadio Juba, like our Facebook page, iRadio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at iRadio South Sudan. You can also visit our website and listen to us online at www.iradio.org. Stay tuned for the news in Arabic at hour. I am Baria Johnson. Thank you for listening.
Sounds of the Week on iRadio.